Evil, no matter how deeply we try to define it or dissect it, always slips through our fingers like smoke. In Stoic philosophy, we are taught to observe human nature with clarity, to accept it with calm, and to face adversity with unwavering resolve. But when it comes to evil, there's something unique about it. It's not always found in definitions or theories. It's often recognized in a moment, a feeling, a shadow that moves through the soul before the mind even catches up. You may not need a lengthy explanation or clear evidence. When you stand face to face with true malice, there's no need to ask questions. Your heart already knows. The presence of evil people is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It hides in the soft voice, the warm smile, the familiar places, and that's what makes it terrifying. What if the darkness isn't out there, but closer than we think? That's the unsettling part. Evil doesn't just dwell in distant alleyways or abandoned corners. It can sit in church pews, speak from a teacher's podium, or even offer you tea in the living room of someone you love. It can exist in places we associate with safety, schools, temples, homes. Evil people are rarely strangers in the dark. More often, they wear the mask of the familiar. That's how they go unnoticed until the damage is done. Understanding evil is never simple. It's not something we can just reduce to a few harsh adjectives like cruel or immoral. These words mean different things to different people. Evil in its truest form defies easy categorization. But one thing is certain, when you're not blind anymore, when you finally see it for what it is, evil doesn't stay silent. It reacts, and that reaction speaks volumes. In the upcoming video, we'll break down 7 distinct signs that evil people display once they realize you're not blind anymore. When the veil is lifted, when they know their mask has slipped in, your eyes, they behave in specific and predictable ways. Grounded in Stoic wisdom, we'll explore these behaviors, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because the best defense against darkness is clarity. The kind of clarity that allows you to stand firm, remain calm, and walk away with your peace intact. Let's begin with the first sign. They return with a new reputation. Have you ever looked at someone and thought they must be battling inner demons? Chances are they weren't battling anything. They were simply hiding. Some of the most manipulative people don't look the part. They don't come with a warning label or a sinister aura. In fact, they often appear charming, successful, even admirable. But beneath that crafted image lies something much darker. And what's worse, they're good at hiding it. Very good. You might not see their true nature for months, years even. And when you finally do, don't blame yourself. That's the power they have, the power of deception. They manipulate effortlessly, not out of need, but as a way of life. Their intentions are cold and calculated. They take what they want, break what they touch, and move on without remorse. You may have crossed paths with these individuals and brushed them off as simply difficult or toxic. But the truth is, they are far more dangerous than that. Now that you've seen this first sign, let's move on to the next. Previously, we explored how evil individuals, once exposed, often return with a brand new reputation, a reinvention, carefully crafted to deceive. But that's just the beginning of their game, because evil isn't always loud or violent. Sometimes it's subtle, manipulative, and terrifyingly calculated. These individuals don't rely on shallow tricks or simple lies. No, what makes them so dangerous is how skillfully they control the way others perceive them. When they realize you've seen through their carefully built facade, their first instinct isn't to admit wrongdoing or own up to their actions. Instead, they go on the offensive, not with aggression, but with manipulation. They'll start reshaping their image, rewriting their story, and repainting your perception of them. Why? Because they understand something powerful. Reputation shapes reality. Let's say there's someone in your community, someone whose past is stained with cruelty, betrayal, or emotional harm. People know who they are, you know who they are, but once they discover that you've uncovered their truth, they don't back away. Quite the opposite. They lean in. Suddenly, they show up with a different tone, a new story, a fresh perspective. They'll speak of hardships, of misunderstood intentions, of how the past was twisted by circumstance. They may even blame others, painting themselves as the victim rather than the villain, and they'll do it so convincingly, so smoothly, that you may start questioning your own memory. It's like watching a theater performance. Only this time, the audience is you, and the stage is your trust. This act isn't random, it's deliberate, and it's dangerous. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest minds, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Evil people know this deeply. If they can shift your thoughts, they can alter your emotions, and if they alter your emotions, they can bend your truth. The new image they try to sell you, it's not a confession, it's not growth. It's a calculated disguise, a way to dodge accountability and continue spreading harm unnoticed. Think of it in everyday situations. Perhaps at work, you've had a colleague who was notorious for deceit, for backstabbing, gossip, or manipulating others to climb higher. But as soon as they realize you've figured them out, they change course. They start opening up, talking about their troubled past or how they've turned over a new leaf. But this isn't transformation. It's a tactic. This rebranding is designed to confuse you, to break your inner compass. You begin second-guessing, maybe I misunderstood them, maybe they really have changed. And just like that, you're no longer standing in truth. You're standing in doubt. This confusion doesn't just fog your judgment, it weakens your ability to resist. And once you hesitate, even for a moment, they regain control. That's how they thrive, not through direct confrontation, but through quiet erosion of clarity. Stoic philosophy teaches us the value of mental stillness, of remaining firm in truth, even when emotions try to pull us into storms of confusion. When someone starts changing their reputation overnight, don't be too quick to believe the new story. Ask yourself, is this genuine change or just a more elaborate mask? Because when evil realizes it's been seen, it doesn't vanish. It evolves. And as we continue, we'll explore the next sign, one that reveals how far evil will go to maintain control. After attempting to reshape their reputation, evil individuals don't stop there. Once they know you've seen through their mask, they begin to send out something more subtle, something harder to explain, yet impossible to ignore. Sign number 2. They give off strange vibrations. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something was off? You couldn't quite point to why, but your gut whispered that something wasn't right. That uneasy tension, that quiet discomfort, that's the kind of energy these individuals radiate. Vibrations, though the word might sound mystical, are very real. They represent the emotional and energetic signals we unconsciously pick up from the people and environments around us. Everything is energy, including us. And when someone harbors dark intentions, that energy doesn't stay hidden. It leaks out. We feel it deep in our bones. Even if our mind hasn't figured it out yet, when someone with malicious intent realizes that you've uncovered their truth, they begin to emit this heavy, uncomfortable presence. It's not always in what they say. Often it's in what you feel. Their once neutral presence now stirs unease. Their behavior, once perhaps friendly or passive, suddenly feels off, calculated, even threatening. Some call it intuition. Others call it energetic awareness. Regardless of the label, what matters is this: your discomfort is real, and it's a warning. Science backs this too. Our brains are wired to respond to subtle emotional cues. We may not consciously notice them, but our bodies react. Our heartbeat changes. our muscles tense, our mood shifts. When someone starts giving off strange, low-frequency energy, our internal alarm bells ring, even if we can't explain why. You may find yourself feeling drained after being around them. Your thoughts might become foggy, or you start second-guessing everything you say in their presence. This isn't random. It's the result of being in the energetic field of someone who no longer sees you as an ally, but as a threat, especially if they hold power, a boss, a teacher, a leader. Their negative vibrations can create an environment of tension and fear. You might notice them watching you more closely, asking intrusive questions, or stepping into your personal space more often. These are not innocent behaviors. They're attempts to assert dominance, to unsettle you, to regain control. This behavior isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. When evil people feel exposed, they shift into survival mode, and the way they do it is rarely loud. It's quiet, eerie, and deeply unsettling, like a shadow that follows you just out of view. That's why Stoic teachings encourage us to remain still and observant, to trust what we feel when logic can't yet explain it. These strange vibrations aren't random noise, they're signals, warnings, proof that something toxic is trying to wrap itself in silence and stay hidden. So when you start feeling that strange discomfort, that inexplicable sense that something's not right, don't brush it off. Don't rationalize it away. Instead, pay close attention. Your intuition might just be trying to protect you. In the next section, we'll examine how these individuals escalate their tactics further, especially when they realize their energy alone isn't enough to throw you off balance. After picking up on those strange, unsettling vibrations, the next step is to stay grounded. Because once evil individuals realize their energy can no longer manipulate you, they often take it further, testing your boundaries and composure in increasingly subtle or aggressive ways. At the heart of this behavior is one thing: control. And when they feel that grip slipping, they will go to surprising lengths to reclaim it, regardless of how it makes others feel. This brings us to the Stoic perspective. In the face of chaos, manipulation, or emotional pressure, Stoic philosophy reminds us that what truly matters isn't what happens to us, but how we interpret and respond to it. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." So when you sense these unsettling energies or start feeling emotionally cornered, don't let those reactions take root in your mind. Don't allow them to unravel your peace. What you're witnessing is not strength. It's a fear-based defense, a desperate attempt to regain control once they realize their mask has slipped. These behaviors are not about you. They're reflections of their own insecurity and internal chaos. The way they invade your space, test your boundaries, or shift from charm to subtle intimidation. It's all part of the same pattern. But you, guided by calm awareness, don't need to play their game. Instead, see these behaviors for what they are: distractions, attempts to provoke a reaction, traps designed to pull you out of balance. Stoicism teaches that we always have one unshakable power: the freedom to choose our response. Toxic people may be relentless in their pursuit of control, but they can't force you to feel anything unless you allow it, and that's your greatest strength. So ask yourself, are these strange feelings and subtle attacks truly harming me, or are they simply a test of my emotional resilience? Remember, every encounter, even the uncomfortable ones, offers us a chance to strengthen our inner clarity, to sharpen our awareness, to practice stillness. The more you hold onto your composure, the more powerless they become. When external forces try to pull you into chaos, don't resist with force. Respond with wisdom. Let your silence speak. Let your calmness confuse, because in the end, everything they throw at you is simply more material, fuel for your growth. Keep your mind steady, your spirit quiet, and your focus clear. And now, let's move into the next sign, where evil individuals start to change not just how they behave, but how they try to control the story surrounding you. Before we dive into the next sign, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever been around someone whose energy just felt off? Those strange vibrations that made your life harder or more stressful? How did you handle those uneasy feelings? Feel free to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Together we can learn how to stay calm and centered when facing these challenges. Now, moving on to sign number 3. They lie to cover up past lies. Think of a lie as a delicate but dangerous web, one that the person weaving it can quickly become trapped inside. Every time they tell a lie, they add another thread to this tangled mess, creating a complex structure that's nearly impossible to escape from. Evil people, once exposed, don't try to unravel this web. Instead, they weave even more layers of deceit, desperately hoping these new lies will obscure the truth and keep them hidden. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once wisely said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This perfectly captures what happens when someone is caught defending their lies. They lock themselves into a vicious cycle of deception and ignorance, unable to see the truth even when it's right in front of them. In everyday life, encountering lies is almost inevitable. Research shows that on average, people lie once or twice a day. Sometimes these lies seem harmless, like softening the truth to protect someone's feelings or maintain peace in a relationship. For example, avoiding negative comments about a friend's new haircut might be a small, well-intentioned untruth. However, studies have found that about 59% of adults admit to lying at least once, and sometimes up to 5 times daily. Interestingly, research also indicates that men tend to lie more frequently than women, though the reasons behind this vary widely. But not all lies carry the same weight. There's a world of difference between a small, protective fib and a more serious, harmful falsehood meant to manipulate or control others. The lies that evil people tell fall squarely into this second category. They're calculated, strategic, and designed to maintain their power while keeping you confused and off balance. Stay tuned as we explore more signs of how evil reveals itself and how you can remain vigilant without losing your inner peace. Picking up from our last point about how evil people weave lies to cover their tracks, let's dive deeper into what sets their deception apart. These lies aren't just harmless fibs or white lies told to spare someone's feelings or keep relationships intact. No, the wicked lie to protect themselves, to hide their wrongdoings and keep their true nature hidden from view. When their lies are uncovered, rather than admitting the truth, they double down. They deny what's real and spin even more elaborate stories to justify their original falsehood. It's like watching someone frantically build a fragile sandcastle against an incoming tide, a desperate, endless loop of deceit that can never truly shield them from reality. This pattern reveals not only dishonesty, but also a deep fear and weakness in confronting the truth. Instead of owning their mistakes and making amends, these individuals choose the dangerous path of deception. This betrayal goes beyond those they deceive. It's a betrayal of themselves. Deep down, they know every new lie drags them further away from the truth, sinking them deeper into a pit of dishonesty. This cycle not only destroys trust, but also makes forgiveness increasingly difficult. The wicked are trapped in their own web of lies with no real escape except to face the truth, something they refuse to do. Even when caught red-handed, they persist with lies, hoping that more falsehoods will somehow patch up the damage. It's especially painful when someone close to you hides the truth. Whether the lie is small or massive, the breach of trust leaves a wound that's hard to heal. For the wicked, breaking trust is no accident. It's a calculated strategy to protect their own interests, regardless of the harm it causes others. This kind of behavior isn't just morally wrong. It shows a profound disregard for the feelings and well-being of those around them. What's more, these individuals often lack the ability to value truth itself. They manipulate reality like a tool to serve their selfish goals. Truth is not something they honor or respect. It's just a means to an end. This makes them fundamentally untrustworthy, and once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Now that we've uncovered this troubling pattern of deceit, let's move forward and explore another clear sign of evil when they realize you've seen through their mask. Sign number 4, they only come around when they need something. But before we jump into that, consider this. Have you ever noticed how some people suddenly reappear in your life, but only when it benefits them? What might this reveal about their true intentions? Let's take a closer look. Building on what we've just uncovered about deceit and broken trust, let's now turn to another telling sign of those with dark intentions. Their actions reveal their true colors far more than their words ever could. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This wisdom is especially relevant when dealing with toxic individuals. As you start seeing through their facade, their real nature becomes impossible to hide. One of the clearest signs, they only show up when there's something in it for them. At first, before you realize who they really are, they might seem like dependable friends or allies, always there when you need them, offering support and seeming genuinely concerned. But as soon as their mask slips, everything changes. These people stop acting like sincere companions and instead only appear when they have personal gain in mind. And just as quickly, they vanish the moment you need them most. This behavior is the hallmark of an opportunist. They never invest sincerely in relationships. Instead, they constantly calculate what they can extract from you. Once there's nothing left to gain, they disappear without a second thought, leaving you feeling used and abandoned. Have you ever experienced someone who returns only after you've overcome a tough situation? They come back with apologies, excuses, and a hope that you'll forgive and forget, taking advantage of your kindness to slip back into your life as if nothing ever happened. But if you stand firm and refuse to let them back in, they often retreat again, only to reappear later when they need something once more. These people don't truly change. They don't genuinely care about you or your well-being. Their only concern is what they can take from the relationship, not what they can give. A story from the life of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus perfectly illustrates this. Epictetus, a devoted teacher of self-control and patience, had many students who came seeking his wisdom. Among them was one who seemed loyal and dedicated, always seeking advice during tough personal times. But when Epictetus himself faced a difficult situation and hoped this student would offer support as a practical lesson in empathy and reciprocity, the student's true nature was revealed. Picking up from Epictetus's story about the student who vanished during tough times, only to reappear with excuses once the crisis was over, we see a clear example of insincere loyalty. This student pretended as if they had never been absent or irresponsible, acting as though nothing had happened. But Epictetus, with his deep wisdom, immediately recognized the truth. This person cared only about their own benefit and sought him out when it served their interests. Despite these empty apologies and fake behaviors, Epictetus did not allow himself to be disturbed. He preserved his inner peace, understanding that such people do not deserve to disrupt his calm. From this story, we learn a vital lesson. Recognizing the true nature of others and knowing when our kindness is being exploited is crucial for protecting our own peace of mind. Stoic philosophy teaches us not to let such individuals affect our lives or mental well-being. They don't come to us with genuine hearts. They come with calculation and self-interest. A wise person sees through this and refuses to let their kindness be taken advantage of. Instead of feeling hurt or disappointed by their disappearance, it's better to view it as a chance to free yourself from unhealthy relationships. Remember Marcus Aurelius's advice: be good and act according to your philosophy, no matter how others behave. This mindset helps maintain inner calm and prevents us from getting caught up in other people's emotional games. When toxic individuals realize you've seen through their true nature, they will visit your life less and less. But there's no need to feel anger or regret about their absence. In fact, their departure is a gift, a chance for you to focus on genuine, meaningful connections. No one can exploit your kindness forever if you guard yourself with wisdom and clarity. Rather than continually forgiving those who harm you, invest your energy in building sincere relationships that offer real support and lasting growth. Have you ever encountered people who only show up when they need something? Share your story and tell us how you handled those situations. Now, let's move on to another revealing sign of toxic individuals. Sign number 5. They try to make you feel stupid. One of the primary tactics narcissists and malicious people use to manipulate and control others is to make them feel inferior and foolish. Imagine opening up about a problem to someone you trust, only to hear responses like, "Oh, you should have seen that coming," or "Why did you even do that?" These comments may seem harmless, but they weigh heavily on your heart and mind. Instead of empathy, you're met with blame and shame, making you question yourself and feel small. This is exactly what these toxic individuals want. They aim to belittle you, erode your confidence, and isolate you emotionally. When you start doubting your own abilities and judgment, it becomes much easier for them to manipulate and control your actions. Stoicism teaches us that all actions should come from reason and virtue. Those who hurt others through mockery or mental abuse show a clear lack of virtue and violate the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with nature. When someone's words make you constantly question your understanding of life, relationships, or even yourself, know that these are not mere insults. They are tools used to weaken your spirit and disrupt your peace. Building on the idea that toxic people try to make you feel small and powerless, the most dangerous part of this tactic is when you start doubting yourself. This is exactly the trap malicious individuals want you to fall into. Once you feel weak and unsure, you become vulnerable, and they know it. They want you to seek validation from them, the very person who hurt you. Why? Because it's their way of re-establishing control over you, keeping you trapped within their influence so they can continue manipulating you just as before. So, how would Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to control our own reactions, approach this situation? When faced with insulting words or attempts to make you feel foolish, a true Stoic wouldn't get pulled into the mental tug-of-war. Instead, they'd remind themselves that their real worth doesn't depend on what others think, but on their own inner understanding and self-respect. A Stoic might quietly ask, "Why should I allow myself to be diminished by the meaningless words of someone who lacks kindness?" Rather than reacting with anger or pain, they step back, viewing the situation with calm detachment as a neutral observer. This calm, steady mindset is the Stoic's most powerful weapon against toxic people. They might try to make you feel foolish, but their power only works if you accept and believe their judgment. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, and the one thing we always control is how we respond to others' behavior. Malicious individuals want to provoke emotional reactions to make you lose your cool, but a strong Stoic spirit refuses to give them that victory. More than just punishment, their attempts to belittle you serve to distance you from your own confidence and inner strength. When you start believing you're inadequate, you're more likely to depend on them, seeking their approval. But the harsh truth is, this dependence steals your autonomy and genuine happiness. To sum up, one of the sneakiest tricks toxic people use, especially once they know you've seen through them, is to make you feel stupid. But Stoic philosophy teaches us that our value doesn't hinge on others' opinions or words, but on how we face the world with courage and wisdom. Remember, you cannot control what others do, but you can fully control how you react and think. This is the key to preserving your inner strength, even when the world tries to knock you down. And with that in mind, let's dive into another revealing sign of toxic behavior, one that's equally subtle but no less damaging. Continuing. From the idea that toxic people try to undermine your confidence, another common tactic they use is pretending they don't even know what they've done. Have you ever wondered how to recognize someone who's deliberately hiding their true self? This is a crucial question because, in life, not everyone around us is honest or clear about who they really are. When a bad person is caught or exposed, they often resort to a cunning strategy. They act like they have no idea about the consequences of their actions. They play the victim or act completely naive, expressing shock or surprise, as if they were totally unaware of the harm they've caused. Stoic philosophy teaches us that a person's true nature is revealed not only by what they do, but also by how they respond when faced with difficult situations. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." In other words, bad people exploit how others interpret events and their emotions, turning their wrongdoings into a psychological game full of deception. When these individuals are confronted, they often pretend ignorance as if they didn't realize the damage they caused. This isn't just shirking responsibility, it's manipulation at its finest. They create a false reality that makes you question your own feelings and memories. For example, they might sarcastically ask, "Why didn't you tell me earlier that you were hurt?" This question shifts the blame onto you, even though it's obvious they are at fault. When faced with this kind of behavior, it's normal to feel confused or angry. These people not only deny responsibility, but also try to erase the truth you bravely confronted. Even if you have expressed your feelings clearly and repeatedly, they'll keep asking, "Why didn't you tell me?" This constant repetition is a tactic to avoid accountability and to minimize your emotions, making you feel like you're overreacting or partly to blame. This is how toxic people try to control your thoughts and feelings. They want you to feel wrong, or at least uncertain, about whether you have the right to judge them. It's a subtle but extremely damaging form of manipulation, where the truth is twisted so that you end up feeling guilty for being hurt in the first place. Stoic philosophy reminds us of the importance of maintaining a strong and steady spirit in moments like these. While we can't control the words or actions of others, we absolutely can control how we respond. So, when you encounter someone who denies or hides their mistakes, remember, your power lies in your calm, measured response, not in their manipulative games. And speaking of toxic behaviors that challenge our inner peace, let's explore yet another sign that reveals their true nature. Picking up where we left off about facing those who deny their wrongdoings, it's crucial to stay calm and not let their behavior shake your sense of self-worth. When bad people realize you've seen through their facade, they will go to great lengths to avoid admitting the truth. Taking responsibility means facing the consequences of their harmful actions, and they are simply unwilling to do that. Instead of honestly acknowledging their mistakes, they play the role of the innocent victim. They try to convince you that they had no idea their actions caused any harm. And when you confront them, they twist and distort the facts, making you doubt your own experiences and memories. This isn't just deceit, it's a deep sign of disrespect. It denies the truth, devalues your emotions, and undermines your confidence. These individuals know that once you start doubting yourself, they can continue their harmful behavior without fearing the consequences. So, What can you do when faced with this kind of toxic manipulation? The wisdom of Stoic philosophy gives us a powerful lesson here. You don't need to change who you are or bend yourself to please them. What matters most is holding firmly to your values and your belief in what is right. Don't let their lies and distortions make you question the truth you know deep down. Self-control and a steadfast spirit are your greatest weapons to overcome the challenges they bring. This leads us to sign number 7. Manipulators try to control you. When someone manipulates you, they aim to influence how you think and act, stripping away your ability to make independent decisions. This doesn't just harm your relationship with them, it can affect your connections with others and even your own mental well-being. Manipulation is often subtle. It's not always about obvious deception. Sometimes it hides behind a mask of care and kindness. Manipulators use emotional tricks to place you in a vulnerable position, making it easier for them to dominate not just your thoughts, but your will and actions as well. Why are they so effective? Because manipulators often possess a high level of emotional intelligence, a powerful skill that allows them to deeply understand others' feelings and thoughts. But instead of using this gift to build healthy bonds, they weaponize it. They identify your hidden fears, insecurities, or the personal goals you care about most. From these vulnerabilities, they gradually persuade you to give up what matters to you, making you dependent on them. Recognizing manipulation isn't always easy. It can come in many disguises, sometimes even disguised as kindness or helpfulness. You might notice someone who's always ready to listen, who seems deeply concerned and understanding. And that's where the story continues. How do we see through this mask? What signs reveal the true manipulator? Let's explore that next. Continuing from our look at manipulation disguised as kindness, it's important to realize that sometimes what seems like genuine concern about your emotions is actually a clever form of manipulation. When someone doesn't truly want to help you, but instead aims to gain something for themselves, their help becomes a sophisticated trap. This kind of so-called support makes you feel indebted, convincing you that they're the only person you can rely on, and before you know it, you're quietly drawn into their control without even noticing. So how do you break free from this? The key is setting firm boundaries and sticking to them. Boundaries aren't just a shield against manipulative behavior. They're a way to protect your core values and your personal freedom. It starts with self-awareness, understanding your limits, and refusing to let anyone cross them. Manipulators are often skilled at reading emotions and will try to gently push your boundaries. They might say, giving up something small isn't a big deal, or that you need them for your safety or happiness. But the truth, grounded in Stoic philosophy, is that true happiness doesn't come from outside sources. It comes from mastering your own mind and maintaining control over your inner world. When you let someone manipulate you, you're essentially handing over your personal freedom and letting them steer your life. A true Stoic would never accept that because it contradicts the principle of living freely and independently. One classic manipulation tactic is to make you feel dependent on them. They might convince you that you can't solve your problems on your own, that only they truly understand you or can help. But falling into this trap means slowly losing your ability to make decisions, to stand on your own, and to believe in yourself. Manipulators keep exploiting you until your sense of autonomy fades, turning you into just another piece in their power game. Escaping this isn't easy. It's a tough path, but it's far from impossible. Remember, manipulators won't give up easily. They'll keep trying every trick in the book to keep you doubting yourself and questioning your decisions. The most important thing, keep reaffirming your worth. Hold tight to the boundaries you set and don't let anyone cross them. You may not be able to control how others behave, but you always have the power to control your response, and that power is yours alone. No, one can take it away unless you let them. So far, we've explored 7 common behaviors toxic individuals use once they realize you've uncovered their true selves. Understanding these signs helps you see through their false fronts and better protect yourself from their harmful influence. Next, let's dive into the final behaviors they use and how you can stay strong no matter what. Picking up from where we left off, Stoic philosophy reminds us that the ultimate key to overcoming any challenge lies in maintaining calmness and self-control, no matter the circumstances. When we learn to protect our minds and cultivate patience, no one can truly hurt us. Toxic people will always try to control, manipulate, and unsettle you, but the real power comes from within. When you refuse to give them access to your inner peace, they lose their grip. Imagine your mind as a fortress. As long as the gates remain closed, no outside force can invade your peace or shake your confidence. Stoicism teaches us that external events or others' actions can only affect us if we allow them to. By mastering our reactions and holding steady in the face of negativity, we become untouchable, like a calm sea, undisturbed by passing storms. So, what does this look like in real life? It means not reacting impulsively when someone tries to provoke. You're not giving in to anger or hurt, and instead responding with reason and clarity. It means knowing that your value is not determined by others' opinions or behavior, but by your own unwavering commitment to virtue and wisdom. Remember, toxic individuals feed on emotional reactions. They want to pull you into their chaos. But when you remain centered, they find nothing to latch onto. It's like shining a bright light on shadows. Once exposed, their power fades. As we move forward, let's explore the final behaviors of toxic people and how embracing Stoic wisdom can help you stand firm against any storm they bring your way. Building on what we've just discussed, the true strength lies in not letting toxic people disturb your inner peace. It's about holding your ground and guarding your calm, no matter what challenges come your way. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you a quick question. How do you feel about the content of this video? Is it 1. Strongly disagree, 2. Disagree, 3. Neutral, 4. Agree, 5. Strongly agree. Your feedback really matters. It helps us create more content that truly supports you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on our upcoming videos. And while you're here, be sure to check out the latest videos displayed at the end of your screen. There's plenty more wisdom waiting to help you navigate life with clarity and strength. Ready to continue the journey? Let's dive into more insights in the next video.